probably seen the movie Hoosiers, where you go into like a big setting where, haven't been there, you have all 10 guys. Is there any like one speech that you get when you get to the Garden?
No, well, not really a speech. We've talked about it. The good thing is we've been there. We've been there. These guys have all wrestled there this year. So we've already wrestled in the Garden. I know it's a dual meet setting, but we've already had that talk where it's the national tournament. There's 8 mats no matter where we're wrestling, whether it's out in St. Louis, where it usually is, or Philly, or whatever the case might be. It's 8 mats down, and every arena floor looks the same, and we can't get caught up in where it is. And I know they'll probably be asked about it today, being at Madison Square Garden, close to home, and there'll be a lot of support and all that good stuff. But we got to get focused in on that first match on Thursday morning, and that's really been the speech, and our focus has been that first match Thursday morning, and not getting caught up in the arena and where it's at.
What a couple years ago I was in Philadelphia. I know it's a different team, but what did you guys as a coaching staff learn from having it be so close and all the stuff that comes with it?
That's a great question. We made a mistake, I think, in 2011 as a staff where we went down. We stayed here as long as possible and practiced here on Wednesday night, and then went down late Wednesday night and showed up on the arena floor Thursday morning. So we're not going to do that again. We're going to go. We'll work out here tomorrow, Tuesday. We'll get on a bus and we'll get into the city and we'll sleep overnight. We'll wake up. We'll have a morning workout there. We'll have a night workout there. So we'll have plenty of time where we're at the Garden working out, training, and getting prepared. Our last couple hours will be in the Garden. So we made that mistake in 2011, thinking it would be better to stay home and stay out of the atmosphere. But we're going to put these guys right in the middle of it, and I'm sure they'll handle it.
Having all 10 guys and kind of a new experience. I mean, what's that going to be like? Kind of have everyone kind of rep it?
Yeah, these last 2 weeks have been great because practices have been the same. It's the whole team's here and training at the same time. So that's been great. It's been as normal as possible. I think every coach at this time wants to keep things as normal as possible, and that's really been our mantra. Everything's normal. It's a tunnel vision type atmosphere right now. We're certainly concentrating on ourselves individually, but having all 10 guys here and having all the workout partners here is, I think I said earlier, it's kind of like a football team making a bowl game. You get the whole team's able to be in and working out and training. So it's about as normal as possible. And this morning, the whole team's in there training, even our red shirts and our backups. So it's a good thing right now. It's having 10 guys was certainly a plus.
Talk about the feeling of having all 10 guys, and there's some national powers that don't even have.
Yeah, I didn't.
How cool is that?
I didn't think of it like that. You go into the Big Ten tournament or the IWA tournament when we were in the IWAs for a long time, and your goal is you don't want to see any of your athletes lose, and you don't want their season to come to an end. And you don't know if it's really going to work out like that. Next thing you know, you have this great round on Saturday night where you're 15-3 as a program, and you start punching guys through, and they're in the national tournament, and then you got one more big match coming up with McCabe, and he doesn't make it, and then there's an at-large bid at stake. So for him to get in and have 10 guys, then you sit back a little bit and you think, wow, we're one of 3 programs, Oklahoma State, Nebraska. It's a cool thing, but that's all, that's all it is 10 guys qualifying. Now, how do you do when you get there? And again, that's another message we've sent. It's about winning matches there and putting yourself in the best position to be a national champion and All-American. And you can't be just satisfied going. And hopefully when you talk to our guys later on today, that's their mindset. They're not going there to just because they're in the national tournament. They're going there to win matches and put themselves in a position. But it's pretty cool to have 10 guys. And there are some national powers that weren't able to do that and in our conference, so we feel good about it. And I know our guys are fired up, and I know our guys were fired up for Sean. So it's a pretty big deal.
Does it help recruiting at all down the line? It's a broad question.
Absolutely. It's when we got back in the office Monday morning, it's one of the first things we sent to recruits, a picture of all 10 of our guys going to the national tournament. There's only, like I said earlier, 3 guys have that, and it's kind of a poster we sent out, and yeah, I think it helps. We're in the toughest conference, no doubt, the Big Ten, and we were able to get 10 guys through. So we're doing something right, preparation-wise and mentality-wise. And, at the end of the day, it's about our guys. It's about the 10 guys that did it. So, and a lot of the guys we're recruiting are friends with those guys, friends with guys on our team, and have relationships with guys on our team. So if they could see them have success, and it certainly helps with recruiting.
Scott, what happened with Karate in the Big Ten? I know he had an injury, he had to withdraw. Do you expect him to be ready to go? No, holding back?
Yeah, I think Anthony put himself, based on his year, he put himself in a really, really good position to be seated high at the national tournament. He kind of got dinged up in that first match against Purdue and then kind of went through it with Wisconsin. It really wasn't worth it. He wasn't going to lose a seat over it because the guys seated behind him are two guys he's beaten during the year. So just no sense pushing it, but he's back. He'll be fine now for this national tournament. I think at this time of the year, everybody's dinged up. Everybody's hurt. Everybody's got bruises, bumps and bruises and sprains, and things are torn. And at this point, you just got to screw your head back on and get back out there and know you're in a dogfight no matter what. So that's the approach we've taken. He's healthy. I mean, our guys are going to be as healthy as they've ever been, and we'll be ready to wrestle.
Scott, what was the waiting period like with McCabe before you found out, and then how did the team react?
Well, we kind of knew it was going to be Tuesday, and then they come out with this release where we're going to do it early, and then next thing you know, they start at heavyweight. They don't start anything at heavyweight. And now we have to wait. It went from being at 1 o'clock to 5:30, so that was kind of, it was a waiting game. And I talked to some people who do some rankings and where they're going to place people. So I had a good feeling he would get in, but you never know. We've been snubbed before, and we've lost some guys in the past. Then we've had some guys we didn't think would get in, got in. So we've been on both ends of it. So it was certainly a waiting game. I wasn't on campus. I was with my son, but our guys were all together sitting around, and then it shows up and he's in the bracket, and they're pretty fired up about it. So it really is a family atmosphere with these guys, and the one thing that sticks out is Ashnault's, his post Big Ten speech. The first thing, here he is, a Big Ten champ, and one of the biggest marks in our program's history. We finally have a Big Ten champ. Or I shouldn't say finally, we have a Big Ten champ, and Anthony's talking about Sean McCabe getting in. So we have a really good thing going right now. It's a family type atmosphere. These guys feed off each other, and to go back on your question, Steve, that's kind of having 10 guys. We want to get to that point where we're feeding off each other and winning matches and wrestling for each other like we did the Big Ten. And but to go back to what you asked, is they were together and pretty fired up for Sean, and he lives with four of the guys that are in the lineup. They all live together, so he was pretty excited.
There's some guys who are expected to get to the podium. Anthony Ashnault, you mentioned.
Yeah.
Some other guys expected, but there's other guys throughout the lineup who are maybe underdogs. Is there a mindset that you try to instill? Are all the speeches the same to all the different guys, or is the mindset?
Well, the main speech, and we'll talk to these guys from an individual standpoint, but the main speech is you will see crazy things happen at this tournament. The best guys, the top seeds, will get knocked off, and it's about believing you can do it. And that goes back to what I said earlier. We can't be just excited to be in this tournament. We got to go there with a purpose that we're going to win, and that's our message. And just like at the state tournament, you see top seeds get knocked off all the time. So it's about your mindset, believing you can win, giving yourself an opportunity, making a match close, put pressure on that top seeded guy where they start feeling it a little bit and they start clamming up a little bit, and maybe they're not comfortable wrestling in those situations. And next thing you know, you're a takedown away or a ride out away from knocking off a top seed. But the one thing, especially this tournament, you'll see throughout it, the seeds will not matter. There will be guys getting knocked off left and right. And I hope our guys' mindset is that if I got a top seed, and we have a couple of them early on, that we're going to give ourselves an opportunity to win those matches. And then the guys that are seeded real high know that there's a bullseye, and we're going to get after it right away and leave no doubt. And if you do that in the first 2 or 3 minutes, then you get those guys that just don't believe they can win. So that's kind of been our talks have focused on that. We're not happy to just be in this tournament. We're going there to knock these guys off.
Getting back to the 10 guys, the first year you had, 2, right?
2, yeah.
Back then, could you have envisioned a day where you have every member of your lineup?
It's a hard thing to do. It's just a hard thing to do, especially the conferences we've been in. And now, of course, being in the Big Ten, it's a really, really difficult thing to do. And you could have some really good guys, like we talked earlier, just get knocked off. It happens. It's part of the sport, and these guys signed up for the sport as well. They're chasing the same things we're chasing, and sitting back looking at it now, it's a difficult thing. And I think one thing we did a good job of is we put ourselves in position during the course of the year, and that's why I've always said, it always bothered me that people would say it only matters in March. No, it matters in November. I think about Sean McCabe because I'm looking at him right now, but his wins against the kid from Oklahoma, those are huge wins, and that happened in November. Kid's ranked 5th in the country now, so he gets into the national tournament based on what went on in November. So those dual meets, they matter. Beating the guys from Lehigh late dual meet, people think it's a meaningless match. No, they matter. And if there is a slip up, we got a chance to get our guys in. We did a good job qualifying the weight. Most of our guys qualified to weight, and then we needed, guys like Dippery and Hayden and those guys to come through at the Big Tens, and they did that. So, but it's a hard thing to do.
So strength of schedule in a lot of ways matters.
Absolutely. The matches in November matter. Matches in December matter. Wrestleback matches at the Midlands tournament matter. Because at the end of the day, you're going to get seeded based on those, or you're going to get into the national tournament based on those. So to me, they're all important, and anytime you step your foot on the line, you better be prepared to wrestle because it matters. It's not just a meaningless match where it means nothing.
Scott, how about national focus? I mean, always talking about whether it's November or right after the Big Ten Championship, always talking about winning a national title. Now it's obviously his opportunity. What about that kind of laser focus he has?
Yeah, I think it's important. Anybody who's got such a high goal, it's what separates the great ones from the good ones. To be able to put yourself in a tunnel vision and think about nothing but the next match and what's ahead of you, and to train and prepare for those goals. He's certainly very, very good at that. And you could see there wasn't a huge celebration after the Big Tens. He knew the significance and what it meant for our program, but it's about him right now and getting himself ready for that next match, and he does that really, really well. And the guys that can really focus on the little things and doing the little things right, and we talk about this every day as a program, are the guys that are ultra successful. And Anthony does a really, really good job of that, and that's ultimately what allows him to be so successful, is how it's just a laser beam focus and nothing matters but the next period and scoring the next point.
On national, the fact that he went through that high school career trying to go unbeaten for his career and had to deal with the pressure of that help him here? Because he's been there, done that?
I don't.
Dealt with pressure?
Yeah, I think that was pressure, but he's been in so many national level events, and I don't think he ever won a Fargo national title, so maybe that's something that, or he did make a world team, so he's been in a lot of pressure situations. But yeah, the pressure of when you're at that level and you're in the state tournament, because that's the age group you're in, there's pressure there, and he obviously handled that. But there's so many bigger things that he wants to do, but it certainly has helped him. He understands big match atmospheres and certainly what the national tournament is about. I don't think there was any more pressure than that All-American round, the blood round last year. That's about as big as it gets, and being able to handle that against a kid who he's grown up wrestling with, and maybe it's a style matchup. He handled that, and but going back to what you said, certainly growing up and wrestling our state tournament, how big that is, it's helped him deal with this. But we all know that this is just such a different animal, this college wrestling compared to high school. It's such a different world, and we knew that he would lose, and it's very, very difficult to go. There's only one guy that's ever gone undefeated in this sport at the collegiate level. So we were kind of glad that was over and done with early on, and we didn't have to worry about that. But he's able to handle pressure.
What would the significance of having a national champion be?
Yeah, I mean, it's what every coach and what every program, what every individual shoots for. It's the ultimate prize in this sport, other than going on. I mean, how many guys are going to go on and chase Olympic gold and world gold? But so this is I don't want to say the highest level of our sport, but what these guys do, college wrestling's the biggest and best tournament there is, and everybody grows up shooting to be a national champ. And it would be, we talk about it a lot, not too much, but we're at the point now where we're recruiting guys, and we have guys in our program that believe they can win that tournament. So to get it done, and it would be great. But again, it's about Thursday morning, 11 o'clock in the morning, first period. That's the most important thing right now. And if landing a national title is meant to be, it'll happen, and it'll be based on that individual. But all I know is these guys will be prepared for that first round Thursday morning.
And that is the most difficult round in a lot of ways.
I believe so. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Getting on a roll. It's a great point, Steve. Getting on a roll and just concentrating. Everybody. It's human nature to look ahead, to look at the next round, to look at who's ahead. Well, I got this guy. You can't do that. You need to prepare for that first match. And the guys that get caught looking ahead are the ones that are going to end up getting picked off. So it gets you going. The way I look at it and the way we'll treat it is there's a separate dual meet. Thursday morning's our first dual meet. Thursday night we have another dual meet, and that's the way you got to approach it. And if you stay in the front side, it's a single dual meet every time. And if you go in the backs, well, you got to wrestle two duels. So, but being on task, being focused on that Thursday morning round is the most important thing for us right now. Not getting ahead, exactly.
Scott, this is Billy's fourth trip.
Yep.
How do you like how he's going in, either wrestling-wise, confidence-wise, whatever, now compared to some of the other ones?
Well, I think there's there's a goal out there he's been shooting for 4 years, and you know, and we always try to tell our guys, you know, don't wait until you're a senior. You know, don't think I have another year, because you never know what's going to happen. So here we are now, and he's faced with really one more opportunity, and that's not to add pressure to him. We think he's wrestling well. We think strategically we could do some things where, we could knock off some of these heavy hitters. Billy can certainly wrestle with all of them. There's no question about it. He has to believe that and then go out there and do it for 7 minutes. But, it's again, for him, it's about his first round. He's done something that, and I don't know how much this has been covered, but we only have a handful of guys that have reached the national tournament 4 times. I think 4 in our program's history. So he's done that, and he's won 100 matches. That's a hard thing to do in college wrestling. It just is. And he did that at the Big Ten tournament. So he's done a lot, and this would be kind of the icing on the cake, and he deserves it. He's put a lot of time into this. He works extremely hard. I love where he is in the bracket. I love where he is. I really do. So, but that first match, there's a history with the first match. The kid from Oklahoma, they went back and forth, I believe, this year. They split, and he's beaten them last year's national. So, it's easy to look, well, Adam Kuhn's there. No. It's about Ross Larson in Oklahoma, and we got to focus on that match first.
Did I read in your bio 199 college matches?
I did.
The one short?
Yeah. I wasn't expecting that question today. That's all right. That's all right, Sarge. Leave it to you to bring that up. But
I'm sorry.
no, that's okay. That's okay.
On that note.
One more, Richie Lewis.
Yep.
He really doesn't have much fear.
No, he doesn't have much fear, and he's certainly capable. He can wrestle with everybody in that bracket, and it's about doing it. For Richie, it's the way Richie, when he loses, it's a 1-1 match. When he loses, it's a 1-1 match. If he's going out there and he's really, really physical and he's getting on you, he's going to win 99% of the time. So that's what Richie needs to do. Again, that's about himself and focusing in on that first 3-minute period and getting on this guy. If he does that, he's going to be very successful throughout the tournament. But no fear. That's a great equalizer to not be afraid. He won't be intimidated. Sometimes you bring guys to the national tournament, they get caught up in the atmosphere of the national tournament, and I'm not. That's the last thing I'm worried about with Richie is that I don't think he really gives it. Yeah, he doesn't. He doesn't care about that. So that's not a big deal for him. But he can't sit back and it can't be 1-1. It's got to be real. Yes, go hard all the time, and then good things are going to happen. Good. All right, man.